Christina Hendricks earned 6 Emmy nominations for her role on Mad Men, and she reunited with that show's creator, Matt Weiner, for the Romanoffs. She's also currently starring in the second season of her show, Good Girls. I'm Zach Laws, contributing editor at Gold Derby, and here to talk with me now is Miss Christina Hendricks. Christina, let's start off with season 2 of Good Girls, which is currently airing. What were your expectations like going into the second season after a pretty successful first season?
I mean, just one, we moved to Los Angeles from Atlanta, so we were all just very, very happy to be home and excited to be working again. We love this show. It is a real passion project, and we just wanted to be able to dive into these characters even deeper and get a little darker and a little weirder. And I think we're successfully doing that.
Well, in that vein, tell us a little bit about how your character, Beth, has changed from season 1 to season 2.
Um, Season 2, I think, is very much about her exploring if this is really actually something that she likes. I think season 1 it was a necessity. It was a bad idea, but they did it. And then it was scrambling out. And this season is really about, well, maybe I don't want out. Maybe this is exciting. And maybe this is something I needed oddly in my life, as weird and shameful as it feels. Maybe I kind of like it. Maybe I'm kind of good at it.
Why do you think she likes it?
I think it's complete opposite of everything that she's been programmed to do. And I think she's deprogramming. I think she's confused by her own feelings and has no idea why it feels good. But I think there's an adrenaline rush there. And I feel like she's sort of like punching to get out of this box that she's been in.
Well, certainly, I think one of the great qualities of the show is that a buried subtext within it is about women taking agency over their own lives and taking control of their own destinies. Can you talk a bit about that kind of layer in the show?
Yeah, I mean, there's a darkness in the show and there's humor in the show, but I think what people really respond to is these women having each other's backs, and then there's this element of fantasy. I mean, obviously, we would not recommend going out and robbing a grocery store and going into a life of crime. But there is this sort of whimsical nature of it, but that is sort of like, what if? What if you could act out? What if you could do those things? And you get to watch these women play your what if and go down this sort of fantasy spiral in a way. But we try to play it as real as possible, so you can kind of feel like you're kind of there with them in a way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's this really nice blending of kind of pulpiness
Mm-hmm.
and also a level of, kind of real life drama. Because after all, I mean, these women do have home lives
Yeah.
that they have to take care of.
Pack school lunches still,
How does her life of crime impact her home life? I mean, how does Beth, I guess, juggle those two things, or do you think can she juggle them?
I think right now she's trying to hide it. And of course all of our spouses are figuring out what's going on, and it's breaking down the family. Of course, the family was already breaking down, at least in Beth's case. So she's behaving so wildly that she's just sort of said to her husband, like, get on board or get out of here. Like, she's not even very apologetic about it, but she is trying to protect these children, and in her odd way, hide it from them. But they're wise humans, so they're catching on that something's not right at home. And my oldest is having eating issues, and it's going to start to play out in the family more and more and more.
Yeah, I mean, growing up is tough enough, but when your mother is a master criminal, it's it's got to be even 10 times
It
worse.
adds another level of stress.
You mentioned the camaraderie between you and the other mothers, Ruby played by Retta and Annie played by Mae Whitman. Can you just talk a bit about how that dynamic has grown and changed both on screen and off screen, just between the three of you?
Well, we adore each other. I love working with these women. They are amazing humans, and they are amazing actresses. And as far as their characters, May and I play sisters, and Retta's our best friend, essentially our sister. So there's just this history with these women, and we've sort of found that within our own friendship quite easy with one another, and I think it plays on screen. I think you can manufacture that too. I'm just lucky that I also get to work with women that I just truly, truly love. Um, but it's interesting because these characters are all really, really different, and the history that's there and the love that's there, they're gonna stay together through this ridiculous scenario. And at some moment, one of them is always like, "This, no way, I'm out at this point. I'm out." And they all have their specific reasons, and they always have to have they always have to be there for one another. So they somehow get pulled back in.
You've aired about 6 episodes of this second season, I believe. So I don't want to spoil anything that's to come, but of those episodes that have aired already, what have been some highlights for you, particularly for your character, Beth?
I mean, the audience was very, very excited about this relationship with Beth and the Rio character. There's this great on-screen chemistry, and so I think there was a like a what if they did moment, and we did. We went for it, and I think it's a really interesting moment, and I really like that episode for Beth because she's really just being like pressed to her limits with her husband. She's really trying to contribute, trying to do something in a real way to help this family move things along, and he's just putting her down, putting her down. You're a mother, you make sandwiches, you don't know what you're talking about, and she just breaks. And I thought it was a really interesting moment to have this incident happen while the husband is sitting in the other room, and she's just lost her mind to a certain degree. So I thought it was really, really interesting, and the way that we did it, showing it sort of going more of a flashback moment. I just thought it was really, really interesting character thing to happen to Beth, and then have to pull it back together, and you know, she's a good girl, so she doesn't know what that means with this person in her life now. She's like, "Are you my boyfriend or are you the crime boss?" So as ridiculous as that sounds, she doesn't really know where she stands, and it just puts her like on much more uneven ground and in a much more fragile place than she was even before.
Considering the times that we're in, I think that it's very easy to look at this show and look at it within the context of the world that we live in today. What do you think a show like this can help provide in conversations about women in the workplace and women taking agency over their own lives and things like that?
Well, like I said, we certainly wouldn't want anyone to go out and do what we're doing. I think
No.
yeah, but I think one thing that's nice is it really does show women supporting each other. And I think when you realize you've got family and friends around you that are going to be there to support you when you do need to make a bold or a big decision in your life, that that you've got people there. And I think that this show is about that, and encouraging that in other people's lives.
Well, let's talk about the Romanoffs, which reunites you with Matt Weiner. You were in the episode TV movie. I'm not quite sure how to categorize it. House of Special Purpose. Tell us a little bit just about when Matt Weiner contacted you. What was his pitch for this?
Um, I don't know if we remember it correctly, Matt and I, but I think I just remembered begging him to be in his new show. And he said, "I'm writing something, don't worry." And so when he sent it to me, I read it in 5 seconds, which is what I did with every Mad Men script, and absolutely loved it. Uh, so much for an actress to do there, like, an actress playing an actress within a script, within a thing. I mean, it was just that wonderful, weird, odd, quirky thing, and very different from anything that I'd seen Matt do. Um, and I was just thrilled that he trusted me to do it, because there's a lot to do in that script, and I was just honored and thrilled and excited and all the above.
Well, how did you find your way into that character? I mean, because like you said, there's a lot of different layers upon layers upon layers, and so I mean, how did you What was your way into it, I guess?
I spoke with Matt a lot beforehand, and he said, this is an actress that is a pretty big movie star, but isn't known for being a good actress. She's known for being a movie star. And, um, you know, she shows up in it, and it is sort of a cheesy thing that she's working on, but she's really coming in last minute, and she wants to give it her all, and this is a chance for her to prove that she's actually a real actress and not just, a pretty face, and not just um known for her, just for being famous. So that was a lot to get to start with. And then the circumstances of the script are so wild, and it's such a mind game that you really just throw yourself into it and watch these other incredible actors do what they're going to do with the roles. And it's a whirlwind of what's going on around you, and you just throw yourself in it, and it kind of happens. And to work with Isabelle Huppert and Jack Houston and just all these awesome people too. So
Well, I did want to ask you about Isabelle Huppert in particular, because I mean, you guys, it's a really interesting dynamic that plays out between you two. Can you just talk a bit about that dynamic between your two characters, and also just about working with Isabelle Huppert?
well, I was incredibly nervous, as you can imagine. Um, and she's very intimidating. And her character is supposed to be very, very intimidating. But I think it was after the first day she pulled Matt aside and was like, "Oh, okay, this is gonna be fun." Like, I think I had to like prove myself to her, and I think it worked. And so we had an amazing time together. I absolutely loved her, and she was super cool and down to earth and stuff that I wasn't expecting. But yeah, her character is known for being a very, very famous actress, and now she's turned director, so she's got something to prove, and I've got something to prove, and there's an age difference, and it's really them in a crazy power play, and my character pretending like she's holding her own, but is like being beaten down and terrified by her role model. So and Isabelle is intense. So you do those scenes with her and she looks at you and you're like, "Oh, I feel awful. She just made me feel really awful," which she's supposed to do. So it was good.
Very intense on-screen persona as well. So
Yeah.
it's no surprise she'd be that way off-screen as well.
No, I meant on screen. I didn't mean
No,
I
no,
don't,
no, I didn't mean as in I didn't mean as in a mean person, but you know what I mean. Just like that kind of intensity of performance.
yes, she is very, very, very intense. But yeah, during those scenes where she was supposed to diminish me, it worked very well.
Having worked with Matt Weiner on Mad Men for 7 seasons, I believe it was, and now working on this. I mean, what is that dynamic like between you two?
I mean, it was amazing. It really was the best working experience I've ever had was on the Romanoffs. I truly mean that. It was sort of a dream, and Matt would direct, I think, 1 or 2 episodes per season on Mad Men, but he was directing this, so we were together every moment, every day, and I think I was in pretty much every scene. Um, so we had this shorthand with one another, and we had very easy jokes and humor, and he is known for being meticulous and very, very specific, and I think that if I didn't know him as well as I did, I would be maybe sort of like, "Does he not like what I'm doing?" Or, but it's Matt, and we can talk so brutally honest with one another that I also know to trust him because he's proven time and time and time again that what he does works, and how I mean, I'm the biggest fan. So I just felt like I was just very much in good hands, and that I could just really trust the notes, and if there was something I didn't quite understand, I knew it was right, and I would try it. So it was great.
Like I mentioned before, you got 6 Emmy nominations for Mad Men. First of all, I mean, what did that recognition mean for you? But also, to have been a part of a show that is so beloved and was so much a part of this kind of revolution in television that we've seen today, and to have had such an iconic part in it. What did that mean for you?
I mean, it is everything. I'm so proud of that show, of the role that I got to play on it. Um, and to this day, I mean, the way people watch TV, people are still discovering it, which is fun for me. I didn't have to say goodbye to it. I still get people talking about it on a daily basis and what it meant to them. And there is so much good stuff out there on TV now that I am loving and adoring. And I feel like if we had any part of raising the bar or saying, you know what, you can do it this way, you can have expectations of this kind of quality or this kind of storytelling, um, then that's just, a cherry on top. And I get to reap the benefits because I get to watch all the good stuff out there. But I'm endlessly proud and will always be.
Well, Christina, thank you so much, and congratulations on all your work this year.
Thank
Uh,
you.
you're welcome. And thank you so much to all of you at home for watching. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below. And make sure you visit us at goldderby.com, where we pull experts and people like yourselves to find out who's going to win all of the top awards. Thank you.